When I read this in the book, I said, oh my God, bad channeling, bad mediumship right there. Hiccup. Their filters were in place, and I just cannot imagine an enlightened being in spirit world or off planet would actually say that. Like, what?
Hello, and welcome to the Constance Messmer podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Okay, I'm going to talk to you about one of my biggest pet peeves. I'm sure I've mentioned it before because it just bothers me that much, but I'm going to bring it up again. And why it's so important to me to share this with you. It has to do with miscommunication. Spirit just said that. Call it miscommunication. It is miscommunication. There is something called inner psychic rapport, and there is something called mediumship, and there is something called channeling. All three are different. I'm going to start with the beginning. You know, language is important to me so that we can be on a common ground, and I am bringing contemporary language to this teaching of psychic development or spiritual development so that we can all be moving forward with the same material in a way that we can comprehend it and understand it. So the first one is inner psychic rapport. And this is also known as telepathic communication. This is what happens when you are getting guidance for your own benefit, whether you are getting that guidance from your wise self or another being. So if you are getting guidance from an angel, or if you are tuning in to get guidance from a loved one, or even trying to have a telepathic communication with a loved one that's alive, like your dog, or maybe a non-vocal human, or even, someone at a distance. Like I do this with my friends all the time, call me, and then they call me. And that's inner psychic rapport. That is also known as telepathic communication. So it is one-to-one to communicate with all the 11 soul senses, to have communication and conversation, if you will. And this I use all the time, and I bet you do too. I bet you use it all the time when you seek guidance, or maybe in prayerful moments, or even when spirit is trying to connect with you, or a loved one on the other side is trying to connect with you to not worry about what's going on in your life, or, maybe your angels are guiding you, or you're feeling claircognizance, knowing like, oh, I have to do this. I know I have to do this, whether that's from your wise self or beyond. All of these ways, whether the being is alive or the being is on the other side, or in spirit, or even an aspect of ourself, our wise self. This is all one-to-one telepathic communication, but I usually refer it to inner psychic rapport. That's the first one, first category. The second category is mediumship. And mediumship occurs when there's three beings involved, three or more, right? So me as a medium, I'm getting a message, maybe from spirit, maybe from someone's non-vocal, autistic, or non-vocal, even someone with dementia. I can get non-vocal communication from someone with dementia and deliver it to a third party. So I've been hired as a medium in the past and right now, do you see what I'm doing? I'm listening to spirit and I'm delivering the message from you. So some of this content that's coming through is my own material, but some is coming through from spirit, giving me pointers. So I'm acting as a medium to deliver the message from you. I'm hearing it, I'm seeing it, I'm feeling it, and I'm delivering it. Very different. I gather the information and give it to you. So I have done work as a mediumship in my career when I was doing one-on-one clients or with groups of families, and I would do it, like I said, either to connect and give messages from beyond or from people that are alive, or animals, right? When I'm the intermediary, I'm the medium. I'm relaying messages from people's animals, dogs, horses, cats, whatever, to the owner, human friend. Or even when I have done work, this is a really good, cool thing. Healers pay attention, or therapists or psychics pay attention, people that actively work as mediums within their psychic work. I would often sit with families or parents that had issues with their kids, and I would tap into their kid's soul and talk to their kid and get their live kid, get messages and bring it back to the parent and tell the parent, right? So all of these to me are mediumship because I'm an intermediary and I am delivering messages, right? So I'm either getting messages from beings that are here on the planet or off planet, or spirit world, right? Then there is channeling. Now, tragedy of tragedies. I think it was like in the 80s, maybe. There was some channeled material, like really channeled, from entities off planet or beings in spirit that delivered information to teach people to channel. But they said, and this is what irritates me, in the book, it was delivered by the authors who were acting as mediums, right? When they heard the message and then they would write the message. The beings off planet, spirit world or otherwise, were saying, in the past, you on Earth have used channeling and mediumship separately, and we're saying it's all one, it's only channeling. And when I read this in a book, that I'm not even going to give you the name because I'm not going to tell you something I don't believe in. When I read this in the book, I said, oh my God, bad channeling, bad mediumship right there. Hiccup. Their filters were in place, and I just cannot imagine an enlightened being in spirit world or off planet would actually say that. Like, what? Hey, as you follow my teachings, I've created this journal to be your companion. Your 11 Soul Senses is a journal for self-discovery. It's an invitation to deepen your connection to yourself and the world around you and others. This is a good thing. Your soul senses are experienced through your higher conscious awareness. Through them, you perceive the spiritual aspects of your environment, the energy patterns, vibrations, soul level experiences, and underlying feelings. I'm laughing because I'm reading a script and it's going a little slow for me. Fully tuning into your world in this way, you increase your awareness and you begin to live your unlimited potential. These are my words, but I had to write them down to remember them. This journal is for you to document your quest for self-discovery. This is a good idea. Definitions are in there to help you understand how you are perceiving through your soul senses. Don't forget, I'm all about contemporary language. Prompts and quotes that we've added guide and encourage you. The empty pages are there for extraordinary exploration as you connect with your own higher states of awareness. I think I moved my eyeballs away from looking at the camera. But listen, to get yours, I invite you, I'm encouraging you to head to constancemessmer.com and check out my shop. Listen, I did it for you. All this I do for you. You know that. I believe in you. You got this. Thanks for tuning in. There is a difference between channeling and mediumship, in my opinion, because those are the closest words to describe experiences that are separate, that can occur when you're getting into this soul senses work. Channeling is when you allow spirit to speak through you, and you really are just letting it move through you. Now, some people, when they speak, act as channels, and their voices might change, or their intonation might change, or their mannerisms might change. I've had this happen when I've allowed loved ones on the other side that are coming through to talk to their family. I've allowed them to use my space and channel messages through me so that it doesn't have to be filtered through my ego and me perceiving the information through my soul senses, right? When we do work as a medium, we are using our soul senses, the 11 soul senses, to deliver messages to the sitter, whoever that is, whether it's family or group of people or whatever. So when we act as a medium, we are using all of those 11 soul senses to get the information and deliver it. But when we act as a channel, we are allowing spirit to use our body to speak through us, or maybe type through us, write through us. So there are some authors that use channeling and deliver messages that way, where they let whomever take over and they write the book, really, or deliver the message, right? And when we speak of channeling, there are different levels of channeling. When I channel, I'm typically a conscious channel, which means I let spirit come through, but I also am paying attention and listening at the same time to hold the connection and also to comprehend the material. Some of you, I think, wait for it, are, in a way, unconscious channels. I wouldn't say full trance channels. That's when you really leave your body and let spirit speak through you. But I think some of you are slightly unconscious channels in regards to when you get an inspired thought that flows through you when you're helping a friend or problem solving, you tap into somewhere and information flows through you, and the friend or the person with you says, wow, that was amazing information. What did you just say? And you say, I don't even know. I don't know where that came from. I don't even know what I said. Glad it landed great. Those of you that are in positions of sponsoring others or helping, that your work really feel is about helping. Sometimes people that do psychic work have moments of channeled material coming through when they're delivering messages. This is what's happening. You're channeling. Literally, you're so tapped in empathically or whatnot to source that you're letting the words and wisdom speak through you. This is very different than mediumship. Mediumship technically, and listen, this is all my teaching, so it's by my standards, right? Is when you are similar, delivering message to a group, both mediumship and channeling, both you are the conduit for the information. But to split it up, to make it clear, to know what we're all talking about and being on the same page, mediumship is when I'm hearing the message or getting the message and passing it along to you. And channeling is when I'm letting spirit speak through me and use my physical presence, right? So I'm really bummed that no one questioned that material that came through, because all channeled material that comes through, or even mediumship, right? Material that comes through that a medium passes along, all comes through the ego, comes filtered through our God, some of you were calling out the word I'm looking for, through our filters of our reality, right? And so that's why a lot of times with channeling, the information is so far removed from how the person might normally talk. Even the content might be not able to be understood by the person delivering the message, right? It can be really far removed. But other times, usually, it's right in line with the way they might go, wow, I hear what came through me and I get it, but I never could have thought that, right? But I'm sad about people that think mediumship and channeling are the same thing, because I think there's a real disservice in the work, because it's two different things. And I think we need to still differentiate the two, so that we can have true communication. And so it is a pet peeve of mine when people miscommunicate, because if you're going to teach this work, you need to be clear with what you're teaching. And so I think when that book was written, and I can't recall off the top of my head whether those sentences saying, channeling and mediumship are the same, just call it all channeling. I can't recall if that was specifically attributed to the channel, the entity being channeled, or the authors themselves. I can't recall off the top of my head. I'm hoping it was the authors themselves, and they just had a blip in their connection and comprehension. And I also have to think that, even when I studied once with this woman after I had studied Reiki with her, and she did this Learn to Channel class with me. And so for the longest time, I called my material, that teaching, Learn to Channel. And it was channeling. The very end, she had me do mediumship to a degree, but it was then mostly channeling. It was allowing an entity to come in. And for me, it was Jesus. Jesus spoke through me. And so what I realized in my work when I started teaching it was there's different levels, and there's times when people are at different levels in the material or trusting, right? And so sometimes we have those moments where we are in inner psychic rapport, where we just want to get messages for ourselves and have guidance in our own life. And then there are other moments where we want to learn about mediumship so that we might deliver messages. And so oftentimes I would have people, when I was teaching them these levels, I would have them do mediumship and practice that for a while and get comfortable with that for a while, to understand the vibration and the frequency and the language of soul communication, all those soul senses. And then I would say, okay, do you feel you're ready to learn to channel, to hold the space energetically of the being? And sometimes it would be like within the one session, right? I had people that just soared to higher realms and they were like channeling by the end of the first session. But I always want to allow people the space to have free will and be open to their experience and what's right for them. But I really, really, really am particular about the language. I'm particular about the language. I've studied this stuff my whole life and really intensely for the 30 years of my career of actively doing this work. And the deeper I go into it, the more that I realize the potential of, human potential and the nuances of communication on a soul level. And how amazing, incredibly amazing you are. I'm telling you, you are. You are far more capable beyond your knowing. You are. And I just want to remind you of that by giving you tools that are there in your soul DNA. They're there. And I just want to fire you up, right? Fire you up with proper language and steps and sequence and courses and awareness and understanding so that you can not only take what you're learning from me, but do your own course of study, right? In your own time, which is why my greatest gift that I can give you is not only the foundational material, but also the reminder of sitting in your own private practice, having your dedicated practice to develop these skills to whatever level you want to work with them, use them, and turn to them in your life. And so I love that you stayed with me through to the end on one of my biggest pet peeves. So I should probably break them down into shorts, right? Short form content to just put it out there for others. But I'm really grateful for you. I'm grateful that you're tuning in, and I'm grateful that you're interested in studying with me. I couldn't, I'd be be talking to myself in spirit if it weren't for you. So thank you so much for tuning in. You've got this. Hey, Constance Messmer here. I just want to do a shout out of big thanks to all the members. I am so grateful. And all the people dropping in and giving little donations here and there and super thanks and all that stuff. I really appreciate you. You members and you people contributing and subscribers are what helped me bring this content to everyone, really. They both contribute to the cost of production, and I am definitely grateful for that. This stuff is not cheap to put out. Oh my God. Oh my God. So every little bit helps, and I am filled with gratitude that you're stepping up. I am not necessarily a joiner, not usually, but there are environmental issues and other organizations that I do belong to and I contribute to because I like to see them persevere. And I'm hoping you feel the same about this work. I hope you put it into practice in your life. That's another way that you could spread this work and help change our world, which is what I think it ultimately does. As you know, I think if everyone tuned into their soul senses, the world would be a much better place. So when you subscribe, it's a big yes vote for the content, and it helps spread the work across the planet. So when you put the lessons into practice and subscribe and like and share, you help me help you carry the lesson beyond you and me. And I am just really grateful.
Legally speaking, this podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. It is not intended as a substitute for medical diagnosis, treatment, or the advice of a physician, psychotherapist, or other qualified professional. You should not use this information to diagnose or treat a health problem or condition. Always check with your doctor. Thank you.